Hey everybody, it's Jamie and welcome to Geeked-Out Basketball's Dev Diary number 26, where today we're going to be giving an update on the alpha. And as usual, thanks so much for joining us for this Dev Diary series, because here at Geeked-Out Basketball, we are building the world's best deep tactical basketball simulation game. It's Football Manager for basketball, because hardcore basketball sim gamers like all of you need your game too. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, I'm gonna just jump right in. We've had the alpha live now for a week. It's been awesome. Gotten a lot of great feedback from you all, and this is just gonna be kind of an informal. I'm gonna go through the list of all the feedback, talk to you about what we've addressed so far, talk to you about what we're gonna be addressing, and this will kind of get me to riff a little bit for, I haven't really published an official product roadmap yet. That's coming soon. But frankly, what we wanted to do was get into the alpha and get some feedback from all of you. And then also, we've got this wired with Google Analytics so we can see how much time people are spending. And what's really cool is that the people who are playing this are spending a lot of time with it. The engagement is really high, which that's what you want from a basketball simulation game. And so as usual, I want all the feedback I can get from you guys. So whether it's here on YouTube, whether it's on Discord, some of you have sent me emails, which is great. We have the official feedback button, which here I'll show you, up here as well. And I don't know if you can hear this, but we've added some sound and some music as well. I'm gonna mute that right now, just so I'm not competing with the music. But let's just kind of go through. This isn't everything that we've addressed. We've also had a lot of small bugs and everything else cited. But so far, here's what you should see. So one of the most important things, and I think the first bit of feedback I got was people wanted tutorials. They wanted to know, what the different player attributes were, how the game plans worked. So there's the tutorials button that's in the top nav bar right up here. And you come here and we've got player attributes, team attributes, game plans, playbooks, and training. So this should give you a little bit of context, and obviously you kind of jump down in here and you get to do that. The other thing you see, we've wired a lot of the UI with sound effects. So you'll kind of notice that in a number of this stuff. One thing to note is while we have sound effects wired into the UI, we don't have the actual gameplay wired with all of the sound. In a former life, before I was doing this, I actually worked in marketing and advertising for a very long time, and actually worked for a gaming brand and a sports brand. And I'm kind of aging myself here, but I was around when TV commercials were a big deal. And so I got to work on a lot of TV commercials. And I always thought one of the most underrated components of TV commercials was sound design. Everyone pays attention to who's in the TV commercial, the music, the visual effects, but the sound design actually adds a lot. And so we're taking that pretty seriously with this game. So right now, I think for gameplay, we only have 2 sound effects wired in. There's the air horn when a team calls a timeout, and then there's a whistle. We added a whistle when a foul or a dead ball turnover happens, but we want to put in a lot more. That being said, I want to hear from you all, especially with the UI sound effects. If you have an opinion on them, is what we have in there, is it too much? Do you want more? Is it feeling just right? If you have an opinion, you don't have to have an opinion on all this. These are sound effects. If they're working well, they're there, you feel them, but you don't really think about them, right? They're additive to your play, but you're not thinking about them all the time. That being said, if you have an opinion, I'd love to hear it. I think a lot of the sound effects that we have in there, we're digging. Some of them, not so much, but we're kind of playing with it. We've also added a first-time user onboarding experience. Sorry, I got my list over here that I'm looking at. So many of you, if you've played it since we updated it, you've gotten it. It's just a series. We wanted to keep it simple, but we wanted to make it clear to people how they could find the tutorials and learn more about the game. What else? Again, I love how detailed many of you are, because I am as well, and I'm a perfectionist and I want this game to be perfect. But there's a bug where when there was an offensive rebound on a shot, and then the player who got the offensive rebound took a shot and he missed it. The players who were getting the rebounds off of offensive rebound shot attempts were not getting credited with the rebound. So we fixed that bug. One thing to note, like we built this game engine from the ground up, and it's pretty tight, but there are just a few edge cases. And so I love the fact that you all are helping us catch that. Another little thing, just to kind of show you, actually, let me go back to the franchise mode. The team tab here was not wired properly to display the player's name, who's the leading scorer for that play. I think it was saying player unknown or something like that. So we fixed that here. So now you can come here and you can see who's your top scorer for that play. We're thinking about maybe even adding something where you can maybe hover or click and see all 12 of your players and kind of, rank from most to least, who's been scoring the most or least in any given play. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. So this is one. When you're simming the quarter, we added a thing because I'd called this out and some of you noticed it, to where there would be, if you sim the quarter, you get the text scroll. It goes by in about a minute and a half. You can play an entire quarter in a minute and a half. You don't control anything. You see the text scroll. But the scoreboard was reverting back. It wasn't, the back end was still working, but the scoreboard was working with stale front end data. So we fixed that. So now the scoreboard does not revert back to old scores for a split second. When you're simming a quarter, you'll see it's always displaying the proper quarter. So that's fixed. The air horn is now sounding for when the computer team calls a timeout as well. That was broken before. The lineup screen was being inconsistent when it was displaying the time remaining and the score at the top. I don't know if you've noticed during gameplay, when you go to the lineup screen, it wasn't always displaying the proper values. So we fixed that. This up here, sometimes it was working with old stale data, but we fixed that. And let me just kind of show you, we'll do a sim quarter as well. I'm not going to I'll just let it kind of run as we're going through, but what you're going to see is there's going to be no reversions to old time remaining or stale scores up here. It now is always portraying the right data. And then also too, I think at some point we probably want to wire this to be an actual clock countdown. Right now it's just kind of going from turn to turn and based on the time that elapsed with each turn. The player foul out pop-up is now appearing. So when a player fouls out in the middle of the game, you're going to get a pop-up so you know what's going on. Right now it's not properly displaying his image, his headshot. We're going to fix that. The final play of the quarter was a bit broken, especially when there was a shooting foul. It wasn't shooting the free throws at the end, so we cleaned that up so you'll now shoot the free throws. That goes to a separate thing I'll into. We do need to wire this with better end of quarter logic though, and that's something that I'll get into. But the whole turn progression in the animation is now working properly for edge cases at the end of a quarter. One little thing to note, we calibrated the tournament settings, your team settings now, depending on what seed you are. I don't know if you've noticed, if you've played a tournament, teams get randomly seeded. If you're the 1 seed, you're going to have higher team attribute scores for the most part. If you're the 8 seed, you're going to have lower. So now in tournament mode, there's a bit of, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all cascade accordingly. So now there's going to be a bit of a tangible benefit to having a higher seed in tournament mode when you play tournament mode. So those are the main things. I mean, we've done a lot of other updates as well too, but those are the main things. And then the other things we're going to be working on, obviously the franchise features. We want to get to that at some point soon. For those of you who have played all the way through a season in franchise mode, I think you've noticed we don't progress to another year right now. You're just asked to, you've completed your season. You either won the title yourself or you see who won the title, but players don't age. We don't do recruiting, and you don't progress to the next season. That's coming. That's on our roadmap. There's a design facelift that is also going to come with all of this at some point. That's going to be super important. And then we're going to be adding a lot more to the gameplay. I don't know if you all are feeling that the gameplay right now gives you a diverse set of options or not. But we are going to be, especially fast breaks. There's really only one fast break that's being run, and that's the the player releasing. And then if your players are playing smart defense and you've got the right settings, they're going to read that and get back. But there's all types of fast break strategies, right? There's the rim runner strategy and other things. And so we're going to be wiring more fast break options into this, as well as more plays and everything else. And that goes into the next thing. We still do need to kind of calibrate how playbooks are framed up for you all. I'd be curious to know, are you adjusting your playbooks much right now in the alpha? Is the way they're set up intuitive or not really? I'd love to get your feedback. We've got obviously the plays wired into this thing, but just kind of curious how intuitive you all feel that gameplay is. I talked about sound effects because we want more in-game. Situational logic. This has been cited a couple times, but especially as we get to the end of a quarter, we want to make sure that teams are like shooting a shot on the last shot. And then in the fourth quarter, depending on the score, if a team is trailing, like they're going to want to pick up the pace. They're going to want to shoot more threes. They're going to foul to stop the clock. But if they're leading, they're going to probably want to milk the clock. We need to wire all of those settings in. I'll tell you, those are coded into the game engine. It's syncing them to the front end right now, which has been a bit of a challenge. We do need to build a tighter, responsive front end design. I think some of you have noticed that there are examples, depending on what size you're watching this on your screen, sometimes the upper and bottom portions of the court get hidden, and players, especially if they're inbounding the ball from a side inbound pass at the top, they get lost off screen. So we're going to be working on a more tightly responsive, front end design. Another thing, if you all may notice, we're going to be fixing a lot of the stale data on initial page loads. I don't know if you noticed, but when you come out of timeout, for a split second, the team shows 0 points. All the players are showing as 100% green copy. We're going to work so that it just instantly, when you see it, you're loading with the proper data right away and don't have that weird little lag at the beginning. Multiplayer, we're thinking through multiplayer. That's going to be a big component of this. I know y'all love to do single player sims, right? And that will always be here. That will always be part of the game. But I think if we can get kind of a league going and a multiplayer component to this, I think you all could have some fun with that. So that's something we really want to be a core to this game. Honestly, something we feel has been missing from the genre, the sports sim genre, quite a bit. Because you try to play out of the park baseball and football manager are great sim games, but man, their multiplayer is tough. It's especially I think it's out of the park where you have to use the FTP and it's kind of tough. This is all technical stuff. We are going to be working on a real-time clock feature, so that's going to be implemented at some point. So right now, I kind of meant as turns run, you'll see it skip 18 seconds, 16 seconds. We are going to work on a real-time clock feature that's counting down. It's going to be synced to what's happening on court, so that's the challenge, and that's why that's a little complex, but we are working on it, and that's going to be introduced because it's just more fun to play a game when you're kind of seeing the clock count down in real time. There are a few announcement bugs, like it's not consistently announcing shooting fouls on fast break shots. We're going to fix that. There's a weird rebound positioning where sometimes players go out of bounds. We're going to obviously clamp that. They shouldn't be going out of bounds. They're staying in bounds in the sim. It's a weird thing with our animation right now. I think we're gonna wire the sim to end button. Now, if you've noticed, when you're playing a quarter, you can pause, you can increase the animation speed, and you can call a timeout. There is a sim to the end of the quarter button, which we've disabled right now. We are going to get that wired at some point. There are other. I'm not going through everything with you all. And then we'll add player names to the announcements. I know that's been mentioned. And I think those are the main things that are worth mentioning right now. So, yeah, I really appreciate all the feedback we've been getting. Please keep it coming. You can email me. You can hit the purple feedback button in the top of the screen. You can go to Discord, get on Discord pretty consistently. and or any other way to YouTube comments. We're taking it all right now. So again, I appreciate all the feedback that everyone's giving, and keep playing the game. Let me know what you think, and then also keep that feedback coming. It's been outstanding. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone, and we will chat no later than a week from now. Okay, bye-bye.